Hi everyone, welcome back to our ongoing series on how to create a life operating system in Notion. We've been plowing through the knowledge management section and we're getting toward the end, but as I've been digging deeper and creating videos, I've learned as I've gone and I've come up with some better ways to interface with the dashboard through which we access most of the knowledge management system. So that's the dashboard that I call mind expansion. It's where we bring in our inputs, capture our own thoughts. We bring in the knowledge and ideas from magazine articles, books, videos, podcasts, all that stuff, especially with the integration with Readwise now, automating a lot of the Kindle and Apple Book and Pocket and Instapaper notes coming in automatically now. I've come to some new ideas on how I want to interact with it, and I've built a new mind expansion interface using the same databases, but it's a different way to interface with it. So I wanted to share that with you today and give you this new option that I'm actually finding more effective. So I hope this is helpful. Let's dive in. We're back at the mind expansion dashboard and it's looking a little bit different. I'll give you a quick overview. I've got this on a large setting. Usually I look at it more like down here, but I'm going to blow it up so that it's easier for you to see and read. And just scrolling down, you'll see it's got, I think, a much more elegant and stylized format, plus a lot more quick access to some filtered views. So I'll show you what we're doing. I should point out, this is using the exact same databases as before, with the one exception. I now have the Readwise integration feeding both the books and all the other media into the same database. So I have one media database, no longer a book database, though that works fine if you still want to do it the original way. Now I've got the notes and ideas database up here. I've got the course database, which is independent, and the media database for the rest of them. And then we still have the exact same Knowledge Lab vault down here. I'm actually going to be calling it the Knowledge Vault instead of the Knowledge Lab. This way I can have all of the vaults called vaults. So we've got the notes and ideas vault, the media vault, the course vault, and the knowledge vault. And it's going to be a little easier to explain this to new people when all of the vaults are called vaults. It'll be easier to distinguish vaults from pipelines as we start introducing the whole system to more people. So from now on, the knowledge lab will be called the knowledge vault, and pretty much everything that functions as a vault, as distinct from a pipeline, will be called a vault at the end of its name. So I've now changed the notes and ideas vault to a gallery view. The way this is set up, still have the table, which is what we saw before under a toggle, but I've decided to go to gallery view and remove the toggle because I want this to be super fast access. This is all about quick access. And I'm going to be filtering this by either today or yesterday most of the time. Now it's set up so I can quickly add more. If I want to go to a week ago, or I want to switch to a month ago, I can very quickly just change that filter because it's all set up. I'm not adding a new filter, I'm just changing the designation, and I can jump back to older notes very quickly. But as a default, I'm going to leave this filtered to either yesterday or today. Let's say today, because this is about quick entry. And by having the gallery view, a couple things happen. First of all, it's going to show us a nice block here, right? We don't need the table and all that information. If we're just trying to access a note that we've entered recently, it's there as a block. Or more importantly, instead of going over here to the smaller new button way over here on the right, I've got a giant new button right there, and I can just enter a note much faster and easier that way. When I show you at the end of this how this all looks on the mobile app, you're going to see this works even better on mobile. This is now about quick entry. It's out of the toggle, so it's one less click to get to adding a new entry. Incidentally, I've done the same thing over on the action zone and actually improved it a little bit. So over here in the action zone, this is my today toggle. I spend the whole day after I do my morning startup. I live the rest of the day in the today toggle. So we've got our today action items, we've got our daily tracking. And now I have moved the toggle on top. I've removed the titling just because I want the icons to keep it clean and minimal distractions in this hyper-focused area of my board. But with that one toggle, it opens up into a gallery view as well. And it's just a giant new button right there that's super easy to hit and add a new entry into my notes and ideas. This is all about quick capture, which is half the game with notes and ideas. The other half is that they resurface in the right place at the right time, as we talked about in the notes and ideas database video, which you can look at. It was about 1 or 2 videos ago. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. So quick entry here, same thing on the command center. It's now quick entry through a gallery view. And on the mind expansion, very top, no toggle, quick entry right there. Now scrolling down, we've got the sources. Instead of just having book vault, media vault, course vault, I now have the course vault is here. That stands on its own. That's still an independent vault, but I've made it a list view, which works really nicely as a half-page column over here. And that just lists everything sorted in order of status and then creator. So status is I'm doing it, I'm going to do it, I might do it, and I've completed it. If I had a lot of courses, I might have a separate one for completed versus to do or considering. The rest of these are all coming from the Media Vault, every single one of them. They're just different filtered views. So books, we'll open them up and we've got a nice long gallery view of our books. I've now set it so we see the whole book cover. The way you do that, click properties and you choose this. You can fit image and have it squeezed in there. And then you could reposition if you wanted to really position them, but I don't want to spend time doing that for each of those. And frankly, I like seeing the whole book cover. So I'm going to go over to properties, just use fit image, and you get the full book cover. It looks fantastic, looks great in light mode, and it looks great in dark mode. And then you've got the full list here. Sort is set to last highlighted descending and last edited. So these are automatically syncing through Readwise to my Kindle app, either on the phone or my Kindle device. I use both, or on the iPad. And it's automatically going to sync. As I highlight, it will update automatically, as I showed you in the last video or two. And that'll show you how to get that automatic syncing with headings properly set and all the highlights within each section designated and sorted. Every time I add new highlights, they're automatically added to the bottom effortlessly with no action on my own. And each time I add highlights, that book will pop up to the top. So the books that I'm actively engaged with will always be on the top because it's sorted by either last highlighted or last edited. Jump into any of these and you can just go through all your notes. And now as I've got them coming in automatically, even able to jump back into full context in the book, I can now do a second pass if it's valuable. And in most cases, these are valuable enough, and go through and highlight using my tiered highlighting with yellow, orange, red, occasionally a fourth level of pink to designate the importance level of different tiered levels of highlights. But I've not gone through this book yet and done that second level. I typically don't go out of my way to do that. When I get to the point where revisiting the book would be valuable, I then do it. So I do it as needed. Same thing with the articles. I should point this out. Let's go to the articles. Articles are their own section here. These are also in list view. List view is very clean, especially when you're using narrow columns, which works well here. We can even open this up and make the whole page a little cleaner. So articles are in list view, filtered to only show articles. Because articles can get pretty long, I'm only going to show up to a month ago. So anything more than that's going to roll off. And I could jump into the Media Vault directly if I wanted to have deeper access. And we could, of course, set up additional filtered views in here, which we have books, articles, tweets, and all. We could go into greater detail there. But I like this view here. Anything within the past month will be available here, easy access. And it's sorted by last edited, last highlighted. So the most recently interacted with will be at the top, which makes them easy to find. Super clean list. I typically only use list view when I need it in a narrow column. Offers less information, but the cleanest of all lists. But when it's on a full page, the space between the right side column and the left side column is just too far. So for a half or even third page column size, the list view works really well. And that's what I'm doing for all of these, except for the book view, which of course we're using gallery view. Also updating automatically through the Readwise integration, or you can do it manually. If you want the full article, you just clip it with a Notion web clipper, as I've shown you in the past several videos. Then Twitter threads. Readwise also has a great functionality for saving Twitter threads. A lot of these threads in Twitter are pretty valuable, a lot of good insights. And now all I have to do is either type @Readwise save thread, and that will post my saving of it in the comments under the thread. But often I don't actually want to declare that I'm saving it. So I'll just save it to the DM, as I showed you in the video 2 videos ago, how to save a Twitter thread. And by doing that, this is the one I saved in that example 2 videos ago. We now have the full thread. Each of these is one of the posts in the thread, and it's all there and very easy to access. This was another example I showed you in that thread. It's got the full thread. This was a longer one. So each post in the thread is here. It's all saved and accessible. So this one, we'd add a tag. So we'll add philosophy, psychology. The status is completed. And there you go. So that's the Twitter threads, and they save with the same level of automation as books and articles. So videos are not automated, but they're saving very easily from YouTube using the Notion web clipper, as I showed you a few videos ago. You just click on any of these. This was a really good one. Neuroscientist on growth mindset. His name is Andrew Huberman on impact theory. It was a really fascinating conversation. I saved it, and I can watch it right here. Agitation and stress were designed. And as I'm going through it, I'm saving notes. In this case, I even saved timestamps. If you really care, you'll save the timestamp so you can re-access it in context. But as I was watching it, I was saving these notes and these thoughts. So now I've got my personal notes underneath it. I've got the whole thing here. There is the one problem of as you're writing notes, you're scrolling away from the video down here. So you might open up a separate window with another notepad, entering your notes there. And then when you finish, copy, paste them underneath. Then you can keep the video playing in front of you, and you can keep your notepad in a little window next to it. And that works super well. One of our viewers pointed that out in the comment section of a previous video. And we've got all these videos. So again, this is still building up. I'm relatively new to this system, and this is still also my demo mind expansion board. So I'm now very happy with how this is set up. I'll be bringing everything into it and using this interface. So videos is here, podcasts. In the last video, I showed you how to save snippets of podcasts as you're listening to them and then bring them all in together. So here's an example of that. This Seth Godin episode of The Moment with Brian Koppelman was great. I saved these air quotes using the air quote podcast app, which I demonstrated in the last video. And now I can click any of these. I can open it up and I've got that episode with that little snippet.
Emotionally, someone's listening to this, they've made a promise.
Accessible right there, just the snippet by itself. I can share that snippet or I can revisit it myself. And you also are increasingly having the ability to share air quotes into Notion that have the transcript with the snippet. So now I have segmented views, very easily accessible with very clean lists and presentations of the media within each of these. Easily accessible, and I'm finding this is an optimal way to quickly interface with the media content that you've been consuming recently. And then finally, in the knowledge aggregation segment, which I've slightly renamed since the original overview of the knowledge management section, this is sort of the update on that original knowledge management video about 4 or 5 videos ago. And I'm showing this one in gallery view too, because it's just so clean. I just think it looks fantastic. This is, again, a sample. My list does get longer than this, but I'm sorting these alphabetically, which makes it very easy for me to scan through here and find it, just as easy as the list, but it's so much cleaner. It just feels like each one is a separate destination that's inviting and fun to engage with. So I've created this layout, same database as before, same function as I showed you in the Knowledge Vault video, which was, I think, 3 videos ago, but laid out much nicer. There is one change, however, inside. I have changed the template on how I create the workspace within each one. So let's jump into our design thinking example, which is the example I used previously, so we can contrast it to what I'm doing now. Scrolling down, I've changed this template, and I'll show you the template itself, but I want to show you how it's laying out in action. So same properties above. So now I have the table of contents on the top. So as I have each heading down here, it automatically gives me a quick link and a heading on the top. It'll take me to that. Then I've moved this block down here is now a references section. I have what we originally saw, which is the notes and ideas listed in order from most recently edited at the top going down. So the most recent on top of any notes or thoughts I've had that I've linked to this item, which in this case is design thinking. But I've also added a similarly self-referencing list view of any media from the media vault that's related. So anything related to design thinking will automatically come in here. And this is an example of one of those. This one doesn't have too many. Some will have a lot, some won't have any, and every gradient in between. But from here, we can jump over to the systems thinking entry in the Knowledge Vault. And this one has more action. It's got a bigger table of contents because I have a lot more research, and it's been gone through my tiered highlighting with the yellow, orange, red hierarchies. And it's got under the table of contents, the reference blocks. So we have the notes and ideas that I've entered. I'm still linking this to the demo board, so it's got the demo notes, but it shows you how it's working. And I've got them in list view. We can also easily switch over to table view, but list view is so clean. And typically you just want to see what's there and jump into it. If you want to access it, you can jump into it that quickly. Coming back here, we've got our lists of notes and ideas here, most recent at the top, and we've got a list of Media Vault entries that are relevant. Again, sorted from most recently touched or edited in some way at the top. So the ones that have been most actively engaged with recently will be at the top. And we've got all the articles and videos and podcasts. Again, I've just started using the system, so I don't have them all tagged and lined up with my actual in-action version of the Mind Expansion dashboard. But this gives you a sense of how all of the items from the Media Vault, and we should probably indicate what they are. So let's turn the property on for category. And then we'll know if it's a video or podcast or article or book. And that's going to be helpful to determine whether we want to dive into it any further. Of course, if we see something we like here's that podcast we were talking about, we scroll down, we've got all the air quotes saved here. Or if we want to go into one of the systems thinking videos, it's accessible here. I haven't added notes to this one, but the next time I watch it, I will add notes as I'm reviewing it or skimming it at 2x speed or however I'm consuming it. Either way, that's going to be super helpful. So we've got these blocks down here with both notes and ideas and media access, all the items that are linked to the Knowledge Vault item that we're currently in. And that makes it super valuable. Now, jumping back out to the Mind Expansion dashboard, I'll show you how that template is set up. It's very simple. Edit. So we're going into Edit Template. You see you are editing a template in Knowledge Vault. So at the top, I have the table of contents entered, a divider line just to make it a nice separator. And then these blocks are here. And then quick notes I have set up because when I first create one, I'm usually on the fly and I just want to throw in a few quick ideas or copy and paste something in quickly. This is all queued up to add some quick notes. As I start building it out, I'll remove the quick notes and I'll put those notes into context within a larger organizational structure. So it'll all fit and flow better. But I have quick notes set up because inevitably when I first set it up, I'm just throwing something in very fast. And then all the notes are set up to filter for the Knowledge Vault property within the Notes and Ideas database contains Knowledge Vault template, which is this, which means when you apply it to a new Knowledge Vault entry, it's going to apply it to itself. And it's going to have all of the items in the Notes and Ideas vault that are related to that item in the Knowledge Vault. Same thing with the Media Vault. It is self-referencing to the Knowledge Vault template, which means any new Knowledge Vault entry we create, it'll be all the media items that are linked to that new Knowledge Vault entry. And of course, it is sorted for descending, last edited, just as the other one. Both of these are list views. We do have table views for both of them if we want to get into more data, but I find the list view is more elegant and the simplicity actually makes it more functional. So let's also add this new property here that I just showed you in the other one so that we have by default the property listing for the type of media that it is when we open that toggle. And that is pretty much it. That's the new interface for the Mind Expansion dashboard. I find it a lot cleaner. I find it more pleasing, more fun to interact with. So looking in the Mind Expansion section on the iPhone app, I just wanted to show you how nicely this new design works in mobile. So we've got the dashboard here. Right at the top, we've got the Notes and Ideas vault and that giant new button. We can just click new right there. It opens up and we can enter a new idea. And we can add our categories or whatever we want to do, whatever we want to add, and it's all right there. We swipe back and the new one's added, but it's still very easy to access any recent ones, but also very easy to add a whole new one here. It's just a super quick way to do that with a giant new button. So just a quick way to add new and to have a nice block view. So scrolling down, now we've got all these sources by different categories and they're super organized and very easy to lay out. The book covers scroll very nicely with the most recently engaged with titles at the top. Just looks great. Courses presented very nicely in this list view. Articles presented very nicely in this list view as well, and easily accessed with the most recently engaged with at the top and going down as they get older in my level of engagement with them. Same thing with Twitter. Twitter threads, videos are all here. All of it opens very nicely. And then at the bottom, alphabetically listed in these nice blocks, each being a very easy to press button, a big easy option to select. You know, in the table view on the phone, it totally works well, but you know, you got to hit it just in the right spot. Well, with these, you know, it's very easy to open them. You can just click open the whole thing effortlessly. You swipe left to come back to it. So the whole list is here, super easy to access. This interface in the newly designed Mind Expansion dashboard is just perfect for mobile functionality. It looks great and it works effortlessly, even better than the other one. The other one was totally functional on mobile. This one works even better because you've got bigger buttons. It's much easier to visually organize and ingest what you see quickly and find what you want. So just wanted to show you how effective this works on the mobile phone app. So that's it. I hope that's helpful. I am much happier with this new interface, though the old one was perfectly functional. This one is a little bit more inspiring and definitely more fun to interact with and helps me get to things quicker. So just another option. I found it so much more valuable that I wanted to share it with you right away, even though it was pretty recently that I introduced the first one. So now you have two options. And of course, you can mix and mingle from them as you choose. The game plan going forward is I have one or two more videos on specialty vaults just to show you more capabilities of what you can do in the vault section. And then we're going to get into the pillars, pipelines, and vaults overview. We've now gone through each of the segments, the pillars, many video episodes on the various pipelines and how they work and interact, and now a whole series of videos on the vault section. Having gone through each of them individually, you have a good sense of what each is. So next I'm going to give a more high-level conceptual overview and summary, and in some ways introduction of the pillars, pipelines, and vaults organizational structure, because there's some nuances to it that I think people are still wrestling with. And having gone through each of the sections, I think you're going to understand the explanation now in a different way than when I first introduced it back at the beginning of the series. So we'll do 1 or 2 videos on that, and then we'll compare how the pillars, pipelines, and vaults system compares and contrasts to other systems out there. And then we'll get into some more specialty segments. A lot of people have been requesting the mindset and identity sculpting segment, so we'll do a video or 2 on that. Ultimately, we'll be doing a lot of videos on that, but we'll do one specifically in the context of the Notion system here. And then we'll get into the client operations database and a whole lot of other segments that we haven't quite covered yet, but are still very important to a fully functional life operating system and business operations system. If this is of interest, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get updates on future videos. Leave thoughts or questions below, or join us on Twitter for a broader conversation. And hit like if you found this video valuable. I also write a newsletter called Mind and Machine on increasing human capability. I give away several of my best Notion templates to anyone who subscribes to the newsletter. You can, of course, unsubscribe at any time, but I hope you'll give it a chance. I work super hard to pack it with a lot of valuable insight. The newsletter link is below in the show notes. Thanks for watching. Lots more to come.